So greetings to you. To the YouTube algorithm is really something else. You can't predict it. You can't manipulate it. I guess that's the genius in mankind. The genius in how mankind can use the bots or the robots to keep things in order. Can't beat it. They're constantly adapting. Constantly adapting. That's the algorithm or the bots on the social media. All the platforms are now, they have now migrated towards replacing humans with the bots, and the bots are more serious. You can't bargain with the bots. You can't trick the bots. They are more serious. I mean, not they, because they're not human. The thing. Well, that's the world that we embrace. And it's called technology. And what do we understand with technology? It's basically being technical. And to be technical, when somebody tells you, you're really trying to be technical, they're telling you you're trying to be difficult. Impossible. And that's what technology is intended for. To be difficult, impossible, unpredictable. And you can't trust them. Because today it's this and tomorrow you will become a victim of what we humans create with our hands. Have you seen what the AI, as they say, artificial intelligence, is doing on social media? Producing people, producing content. And if you are an idiot, as most of you are, you believe the stuff you're seeing. You think it's actual reality. You think that's what it is. But not to forget that there are actual people behind their computers. Some folks use their smartphone. Behind their computers or their smartphone, writing programs and creating these AI movies and AI clips and deceiving millions as to believing that what they're seeing is true. Actual people, actual humans. People can transform into a dog, transform into this, transform into that, transform into all these kinds of stuff. You see ballerinas, men and women dancing ballerinas, and the man is taking his hand and holding the woman by her vagina and playing with it, and she's smiling, and in your twisted mind you think, wow, she's enjoying it. No, it's not real. AI is just an artificially intelligent generated piece of content showing that, and you think that that's real. It's not real. If it doesn't passes your mindset that, and there's a question mark there, that nah, something is wrong here, it means something is wrong. It's not real. You also have a lot of videos where men, and that's the part that I find very sick. I find it very sick. And let me blow the cover on that. When you see those TikTok clips where you have grown-ass men, grown men, mostly black men, are walking around in a video supposedly to have an extra large penis protruding their pants, and They're standing next to some random girl who is focusing on the dick, suggesting that girls are obsessed with men and large penises. I want to tell you first, none of the videos are real. None of those men have those penises. If any man finds himself with a penis that is beyond a certain or the average size, let's say 12 inches. Let's say 12 inches. He has a medical condition. Okay? It's like somebody who's extra long in terms of their height. Nature, don't make mistakes. Every time you see something that looks abnormal, it is abnormal. It means the person has a medical condition, a deformity. Something went wrong during conception, during the development of the fetus. And usually medical intervention has to come in place. And also, a lot of the men, some of them do this. When they're boys, again, it's a thing that a lot of black boys do. You know, you're idle, you're young, you're idle. There's nothing else to do. A lot of these older men, black men from prison, they get into their quarters and they're having certain conversations with young men around, talking about girls like big penises, when in fact, those down low men, those bisexual down low men who spend time in prison, they're the ones who like that. So they're telling these boys, or they're saying stuff for these boys to hear, and then they're giving them tips of how they can stretch the skin of their penis. And what do you think happens? Unfortunately, some of these boys actually apply the method they get from these ex-convicts who spend time in prison, buggery. They use the hot eggplant or the hot balange. They stretch the skin of the penis and they beat the skin with the heated skin of the eggplant. They stretch the penis. It's like the penis is shrinked. You know, the edge, they're not circumcised, but the edge, they pull that skin from the wall, they pull that skin, and with the tension of the skin, the heated eggplant or balange, they beat the skin. I mean, naturally, if you get something warm, it stretches easier. And because it's human skin which regenerates, you have to constantly beat until you kill the nerves. You literally paralyze the nerve of the skin. So after a time, seeing these boys are, you know, the skin is young, it stretches easier. They're beating for 5, 10 years. Eventually it comes, they get the skin stretches maybe less than an inch over time. But this is what happens. They lose because they kill the skin, because they destroyed the texture of the skin. They lose the elasticity. Just like a woman who fucks all her life, and she might push out 100 kids, she loses the elasticity with her vagina. So when the vagina opens up, it stays open. The man thinks, my God, this is a cow hole here. Loses the elasticity. All the heat she's sitting under, all the stuff she's pushing up in her vagina, all the dildo, all the plastic, all the stuff, it damages the nerves, damages the internal walls of the vagina. Therein, the elasticity, that kind of tight grip hole, is gone. So when she's having sex with a man, the vagina has to be extremely dry. for him to feel some kind of friction, or the position that she takes has to be the position where she can X her leg and close that area there. So he would never realize that, yeah, that's when you damage your organs. It happens to men too, when they beat and beat and beat and beat and beat and pulling because they want a longer dick. After a while, that's how it stays. It cannot retract. So whether they're excited, horny, or they're not, the penis maintains one position. Now, what happens there? Let me tell you the medical problem with that. It takes much more blood for them to even feel some kind of sensation leading up to sex. Much more blood. And the two areas of the human body experience that requires more blood during the time it's activated, it's the stomach and your organ, your sexual organs. A lot of blood gotta go to give your penis that, and if your blood isn't rich, if it is no quality blood, you never have a quality erection. Your erection is always flaccid, is limp, because you have a poor blood supply, and that most of that comes because you damage the cells. So the blood can't go into the cells to activate them. Hence, the penis is always in one position, always look like it's hard. No, that's because it's dead. So when they're having sex with a woman, she has to help them to put it in because it stays fucked up. The most they can do is to walk around without any underwear so that that impression is there, and a woman may think, oh my God, that looks exciting. The people who will lust that are gay men. Because the gay men as men know what they have to do with that. They know how to bring that to an erection. They use tablets or some cases alcohol. Ultimately, most of the boys who grew up doing that to themselves, and they realize that they have damaged their penis, they realize that they faced early penile dysfunction when they're 17, 18, 19 years old. They can't use their penis. One, they're not getting erected, and if they do get erected, it's not lasting. It dies within a minute or two. Then they have to use substances. It gets to their brain. And those same teenagers become very aggressive because they can't enjoy their sex life. They can't satisfy girls or women. They become very aggressive. Then they got to go with other men. They got to get into the homosexual activity. Then they start using drugs. They start smoking marijuana because these older men, these sick older men are encouraging these boys to, hey, don't worry, take this tablet, take this thing, it's gonna help, this is gonna help. It never does. So these boys, they end up being violent, living violent lives, end up in prison, dead, or mentally fucked up. Simply because of one thing, they damaged their penis. On the other hand, what happened to the females? When these young girls think it is cool, and from a very tender age, they start pushing stuff up in their vagina. They're looking online and they're seeing these grown-ass prostitutes, these huge vagina hole prostitutes are taking cucumber, eggplant, or all kinds of fruit, vegetables, and they're putting it up in their vagina. These girls are so dumb, they don't understand that these women are finished. These women have a lot of kids. These women have nothing to offer a man when it comes to sex, nothing. So they're coming on these videos and they're telling these young girls, oh, you have to be independent. You have to know your body. Don't wait on a man. Don't wait on this. Don't wait on that. So these girls are in their quiet moments in their rooms. They're doing that to themselves. And by the time they are 18 years old, By the time they are 18, their vagina canal, the canal to the vagina is elapsed. So when they go have sex with a man, he is thinking, she's 18, she got no kids, and this is what she got. And he go tells his friends because she destroyed her vagina during her teenage years. The next thing is these electrical vibrators that they have, and they put it on their clitoris. The electrical pulse that these vibrators are sending, the signals they're sending, it is damaging the nerves of the clitoris. So when you do that from a teenage girl, and you're in your 20s, you can't feel. After that, you cannot feel the stimulation of a man's penis. You can't. Your brain is wired to your clitoris, which is wired to the vibrator, the electrical pulse the vibrator is sending, which a penis can't do. Even the man's tongue can't make a difference because the tongue is flesh. For the tongue to make a difference, you have to exercise extreme pressure, literally damaging your tongue just so she can feel something of a stimulation on her clitoris that she destroyed due to putting all those pulse, those vibrators, and all those electrical things on her clitoris. Simply because older women damage these younger women by these sick advice they give on their platform or they talk about in their circles. They are of no fucking use to men, other than you come in their pussy, they get pregnant, and they bring a child. Besides that, they're sexually done. Now that's what social media and how it is engineering. Now you don't have to go in clubs and hear they talk on the side. Now they're doing it and posting it. So your daughter or your son is in their room on their phones and they're seeing that shit. You have no idea. When they apply it and they try it, they realize, well, it's always too late. It's always too late. Those of you who have already gone down that line for men, and you've destroyed your penis because you think longer is better or whatever it is, you can't change that. That's your destiny. You are stupid. You did dumb things, and that's the consequences. And it's not true that girls like bigger penises. It's not true. You know, the bigger your penis, the less sex you get. The bigger your penis, the less sex you get. Because it's not the same as pushing out a baby. You think a woman can push out a baby every day? There's a reason why it's every 9 months, if possible, or every 2 years. There's a reason for that. So you think if you have a big penis, you can have sex every day with the same woman? No, you can't. The men who have below or 6 inches or around that, they can have every day. Because it's not a challenge to the vagina. Most of the time, the woman can endure that. It may take her 3 or 4 tries for her to get an orgasm. But when you have a certain size of penis, the first time she comes, then what? You think you'll get it after that? So don't walk around thinking that this big dick thing is some luxury. It takes a lot of blood to get to your erection, a lot of blood. If you're not healthy, you will be fucked up. You damage your penis and you think that is cool. Embrace whatever you're born with. That's nature. That's natural. Embrace what you are born with. And forget about these low lives on social media, walking around with some fake add-on dildo, the strap-on, to make you think it's a penis. It's a dildo that they're wearing. Is it like the, the girls have the strap-on stuff? Yeah, well, men do it too. They can take their sock, stitch it up to the. It's something they do. They put a banana inside, they put some fruit inside, and they walk around. Those men have micro penises. And the girls in the videos, it's staged. They're making content, they call it. So when it looks at the girls, it's surprised, like, oh no, she's a part of it. Okay? When a man has a large penis, he hides it. He does his best to hide it. He don't want people to see. It's an embarrassment. He don't want people to know, because to him, it's an embarrassment. And like I said, you don't get regular sex from one woman when you have a penis beyond. You don't get. You got to find other things to use your blood. And believe me, you stay healthy. Because if you have to have sex every day with a large penis, you will be mentally fucked up. You couldn't keep up because it takes blood. It takes blood to give you an erection. If you're not healthy, you don't get enough sleep, you drink alcohol, you smoke, you're always out at nights, you'll go out your mind. You will go out your mind. And when you do go to have sex, you don't have an erection because your blood supply is low and you can't sustain it. So if your dick is small or 6 inches, be thankful. At least when you go to have sex, it is rock hard. And stop running around with this idea that bigger is better. Let me tell you what bigger is better. For me as a man, I couldn't help genetics. Everything I have on my body, it's inherited. So my father's side. My sons get it from me. I got it from my father. He got it from his father. None of us take stuff and stretch stuff. We're born. It's a Warner thing, okay? The Warners are well endowed. It's a Warner thing. So I had no control over that. But I tell you something. Life taught me that while sex may last maybe for an hour, in rare cases, because like I said before, if she comes within 3 minutes, that's it. But while it may last within the time that it should last, you have the rest of the day to contend with the person and yourself. 23 hours left in the day. You fuck for 1 hour, then what after that? What after that? You might do it once a week, twice a week, whenever you get availability. What happened to the rest of the week? The other 5 days or 7 days or 4 days? The biggest thing that you should have is your personality. You should have a big personality, big ambitions, a desire to live above the average minded person. Because when it comes, as a man, when it comes to a woman, most women don't give a fuck how big your penis is. They don't. Even if they want to sample it once, that's it. After that, it's about the way you treat them, your personality, your ability to bring their lives from one stage to the next. Look around the Black communities. Almost every household in the ghetto, there is cheating going on in that household. The woman cheating on the man cheating on a woman, and you would think that they have the biggest dicks. Oh, the black woman has the best pussy, the black man has the best dicks, but yet they cheat on each other. And most of the times, these black women from the ghetto, they cheat on their black men with the big dicks with Indian men or Chinese men or Amerindian men. So what's the whole point? Is the content of your heart as a man. Stop walking around thinking it's about the dick. That's why the black men are behind socially, easily manipulated, easily controlled. The people who are obsessed with big dicks are gay men, homosexual men. They're obsessed with that. Because the anus is not a vagina. Now, I didn't say this based on what his female counterpart said. The reason why Azruddin Mohammed likes to flaunt his toys, big cars, expensive cars, big houses, is because of his small ego, his tiny micro ego. Yeah. And the fact that he walks the way he walks, that's how look at homosexual men. Most gay men, they have micro penises. That's why they do what they do. And look at how they walk. They walk like they got a vagina. A man that is endowed can't walk fast. You can't walk fast. You got to take your stride. You got to, or else you'll trip yourself. You would know men who are endowed. They can't walk fast. They got to take this time and they got to take this stroll. Because any wrong move is gonna. I would know. So the fact that Azruddin Mohammed, most of his adult life, he had to be surrounded the way he was surrounded because of his secret. But it's no longer a secret because since he decided to get into politics and he made so much enemies, those who know the secret talk out the secret. So it's no longer a secret. I was a secret. He promotes this huge lifestyle, always like these big stuff to distract those in his group from the fact that he is incompetent. Means he has below the average size of a penis. He would have what you call a loli. Yeah. Men who are that loud, they do it to distract you from their lacking. It has a lot to do with men who beat on women. Men who beat on women, it speaks of a deeper problem, and that is their inability to satisfy that woman. Maybe they are they have pre-ejaculation problems. Their penis is small. They're insecure. That's it. They can't fuck the woman. That's why they're abusive. They come too quick. That's why they're abusive. And their penis is small. So they can't understand why is it the woman is still with them, knowing she could do better. And she probably is doing better, but because she's in this stable relationship, you know, it's good to have a boyfriend or a husband there, but his shortcomings, the other guy who is the mandingo, he makes up for that. But this is what happens when men are in those positions. They project their insecurities by the way they live. Everywhere they go, they make the loudest noise. They want to be surrounded. They want to be the center of attention like a bitch. And typically that's Azruddin Mohammed. His ego is the issue, and his ego is tied to his penis. That's what his friends say. I mean, they would know. They go swimming with the guy. And politics tells you who your enemies are. So the people he thought were his friends, now he realized who the enemies are. Now, folks, all of that matters. Because everything that is coming out of these people's camp speaks to one thing: their insecurities. Their insecurities. All the claims that they are making, all the propaganda, all the fake news that they're spreading on social media speaks to one thing: their insecurities. Now it's not edited lies anymore. It's just blatant lies. They don't care anymore. Because for them, they can only face retribution out of Guyana. Within Guyana, they're untouchable. Nobody can touch them. So they can say whatever, they can do whatever. Nobody can touch them. Nobody can put a hand on them. Not even the judicial system, to which they now claim they own. All because of the small ego. So what I'm waiting for, it was a long time coming. This is something that Azruddin wanted to do leading up to the elections, after the elections, and the fact that the parliament would have taken the constitutionally required time to be reconvened. Azruddin wanted to flirt with protest. He somehow loved the chaos that he saw when he was a part of the recent Tushin chaos. When he was able to go to Linden and all these places and show his face, he liked that. To him, it stimulated him for a while. He wanted to see blood from black people. You know, he could destroy black people without actually directly doing it. And that would have been a satisfaction. But the opportunity has to come where it has to be so dramatic that it will require actual law enforcement enforcing the law using weaponry. And he could only achieve that now. With the tension that's happening around with Venezuela and the Americans, then Colombia, Trinidad, with these tensions, war on the horizon, he can very well get his wish. Because after all, the people who will lose their lives, for him, their life has no worth. He's going to save money because he won't have to fund them anymore. When they go out and they confront the police, they threaten to overrun the parliament, they threaten to overrun the office of the office of the president. They want a Sri Lanka situation. The police will just arrest him, but they're going to shoot the others. He will be arrested, but those unimportant rodents, they're going to be shot. But who's going to miss them? They sacrifice their lives for this man with a small dick. No, lowly or penis. His for his existence to run away from being extradited. They're going to sacrifice their lives for him. He wants to show Aubrey Norton or them Negroes in the PNC that they're nothing. They don't have what it takes to get the blacks to do what they want. He has what it takes. And he's going to demonstrate that on Friday. You heard what he said? He got to go strategize. I mean, I don't know who helped him with that word. What he should be doing, he should make an appointment at the Georgetown Hospital for this Odessa woman. Yeah, so they can go and she can get the right treatment that she deserves. She needs to lose weight. Obesity is a disease. Yeah, it is. It's a disease. You need to get rid of obesity the way Guyana needs to get rid of Azruddin Mohammed. They're both diseases. They both create the opportunity for all kinds of problems to visit the body. So he needs to get Odessa Primus to the Georgetown Hospital so they can do a liposuction. And that will help. They need to cut her stomach. They need to adjust her stomach so she can eat less. Then he needs to convert the others into Islam, because Islam is a strict religion. Islam don't promote homosexuality or lesbianism or drugs or violence or crime, unless you're with Al Qaeda. But Islam don't support those things. So Friday, I would like to see who are the black people that the government is taking taxpayers' money to fund them, cash grants they're getting. They're enjoying all the facilities that the government has been able to realize for the Guyanese people. They're enjoying all the subsidies. They're driving on the Barjagdio Bridge. All the roadways that are built, they're enjoying it, even though they're damaging it. And they will have a Merry Christmas. All those blacks who would enjoy the facilities I just talked about, I want to see how many of them will show up on Friday. I would like to see. But if the police knows that you require a permit to gather, to hold a protest, and Azruddin Mohammed does not secure a permit for that, but yet he goes out and he brings all of these low-life scums with him, and the police does nothing, then it means that the man is correct. He has in his control the police and the judicial system. That's what it means. Because the Guyanese government, President Irfaan Ali, you place people there to serve the best interests of the country that elected you as president. You confirm the commissioner of police. You confirm the chancellor and the chief justice. They're supposed to serve the interests of the country, the nation. So how could one man who is guilty on all charges hijack the entire system for his will? How? Even judges who spent years studying law, practicing law, are fingered to have been compromised by a dumbass like Mohammed because of money? These people took an oath. If these judges knew, these magistrates knew that they were not happy with their salaries, then quit the fucking job, go back to private practice. Get off the bench, retire. If you realize that you're not happy with the salary of the government as a magistrate or a judge, then quit. But don't sit on the bench and offer tainted judgment because what? One party or the other might be paying the most or using their whatever to bribe the judges. We know that judges take bribe. We know that. It is a fact. This is why all over the world you have judges that are before courts, sanctioned, jailed. We know. So don't say Guyanese magistrates or judges don't take bribe. They do. We just have to prove it. Because what is the benefit to Guino Possad challenging this issue with the GRA? What the benefit to whom? How does he benefit as a judge? How is he delivering, or has he delivered untainted judgment in that case? How? His ruling was in favor of somebody who was pronounced, known, declared guilty against the state, which is against the country. How is it to his benefit? It's not, unless there's a massive financial payday for the judge, the magistrate. Or I said that this only benefits the Mohammed. And Azruddin's claim about dragging this thing out for 5 years at the behest of who? You mean he's going to corrupt all the magistrates in the judicial system? That every one of them would be complicit or would be a part of the conspiracy? No matter which magistrate or judge the case goes to, they would all postpone it and prolong it for 5 years? Then you got to be a genius, Mohammed. You have to have dossier on all these magistrates to hold them at ransom. No matter who you go to, you will have information beforehand to say, hey, you better postpone this thing. Then it's a massive scheme to keep you out of the hands of the Americans. For you to speak with such confidence that you know you're not going anywhere, that you're going to go and protest Mansour Nadir or protest the parliament because they don't want to convene a date for you to be sworn in. And Gordon Mosley, I don't give a shit what happened in the past with Granger and Harman and all these people. I really don't care. They didn't have issues. Their swearing in had no issues. They had just one opposition, APNU. They weren't sanctioned. They weren't indicted. They weren't criminals. This case with the Azruddin Mohammed is a unique case. It's a unique case. He should never have been there. It's people like you, Gordon Mosley, who helped to deceive the Guyanese people into supporting a criminal, knowing that this is possible. You didn't cover his crimes. You didn't ask him real questions. You did none of that. You use your platform mostly to focus on the PPP, to attack President Ali, to attack Vice President Jagdeo. But you give the Mohammeds a sweetheart deal. Massive coverage. And now you're going to stir stuff up more to think that this is attack on the Mohammeds, because in previous times There was never an issue to swear in the opposition because, like I said, I reiterate, none of the opposition leaders in Guyana's history is in any way close to this criminal Guyana has to deal with. None of them were sanctioned. None of them had legal troubles. None of them. So, of course, they could have been sworn in the same day. There was no issues. This one is a criminal. This one puts the entire government at risk, the entire country at risk, the entire parliament at risk. And besides, there was a warrant for him in the United States. The United States, before the swearing in of the parliament, made an official request for extradition. He's wanted. They found him. They know where he is. But because of sovereign states and their rules, the United States did what any country will do, made a request. This man is wanted in our country for this crime. We make a request. We would like to extradite him to our country to face justice. This is a done deal. So for you to go now as a country and say, oh really? Then we need to swear this man in as president of or opposition leader. You're looking for trouble. Before he's sworn in, they tell you, hey, he is wanted in the US. We're making an official request. We would like to extradite this man. If you go ahead, despite that, as a country, and not just block extradition, but you swear the man in your legal institution as opposition leader, then you are picking a fight with the Americans. You're showing them that we disregard your law, we disregard your concern, we have no issues with you. Then what do you think the Americans will do? They declare war on you. They declare war on you. You're disrespectful. We're telling you the man is a criminal. We want him to face the justice. We're asking. Then the only other alternative is for them to just come in by force and pick him up. Then what you going to say? It's a breach of international law, it's a breach of borders, it's a breach of this. No, they can, the Americans can sneak in Guyana and sneak out the Bahamas. They're trying to do it legal way. You see what's happening in Venezuela? Look what's happening in Venezuela. Look at all the countries that the Americans indicted people and they didn't want to deliver those people. Look what happened. Look what happened. Do your research, Gordon Mosley. You see what's happening in Venezuela now? Maduro's wanted, indicted. They put a bounty on his head, 50 million, and still they refuse to give him up. One man held an entire country under siege just because he don't want to go face his crimes. Look what's happening now as a result of that. You want the same fucking thing for Guyana? Because the next thing the Americans will do is put a bounty on the Mohammed's head. A bounty. If the government is not cooperative in extraditing the Mohammed, the next thing that will come is a bounty. 10 million, 20 million. Then what? Then what? You want them to invade Guyana the way they're doing to Venezuela now? You want them to devastate Guyana because of one man? Or him and his father? You want to risk your country because of this idiot? That's what you want to do? Get the man out, man. And all those lowlifes, them fucking niggas who constantly gathering. I hope when you go out and protest on Friday, I hope the police don't give permission to the Mohammeds to hold any protest. This isn't about win. This is about Azruddin Mohammed. I hope they don't give any permission for that. So when they go out without permission and they protest, I hope the police send their worst law enforcement officers to deal with them thugs. You need the army and the police to go deal with them thugs. Because them NPNC thugs, those are Muhammad thugs. And those Muhammad thugs, they don't have a soul. Remember, they sold their soul to him. They don't have a soul. They're ugly, they're empty, and they're suicidal. You got to help them out. Arrest him and deal with the rest. They're telling you what their plans are. And it's a good time. It's a good time to pick him up and extradite him. It's a good time to do that. Let them go out and protest. Let them go create chaos. Then you have all the motivation you need. No, this guy's a troublemaker. Let's get rid of them. Saturday could be his way out. Saturday. He could be on a plane to federal prison on Saturday. Make space in one of the jails at in Guyana there for all them thugs who are going to come out on Friday. Make some space in the prison for them. But don't show mercy. All this deflecting and all this crying and all this innocent claim is simply to escape justice. Simply to escape justice. The PNC should be happy with the fact that they're not going to swear this man in. They should be happy with that. Maybe Campbell can make a deal with the rest of the Win people, and they make him an opposition leader, or Sherrod Duncan, or one of these people. Yeah. Or bring Benchcott back. He should beg Jagdeo for a second pardon. And then they can make him opposition leader. But black people, there is no negotiating with you people, man. There is no bargaining with you people. You just need to pick a fight with everybody. Everybody's fight is your fight. That's what Coffee fought for. You would think Coffee fought for independence from slavery so that blacks can finally use their brain. But generations after, this is what they're doing. They're not fighting for a doctor. They're not fighting for some teacher. They're fighting for a man who lived his life with a gold spoon in his mouth, who scorned the idea of having to touch them Negroes. Have you ever seen him wear the same thing twice after he meets with his Negroes? He takes it home and burns it. They have to come out and touch their nasty sweat and knowing that they just woke up from Tiger Bay and come out and their stinky, filthy breath. And you think this guy loves you? All of you talking about how racist Indians are. And this is one Indian that's not racial. Ali spent all his life amongst black people. Jagdeo. The Muhammad spent the past 6 months amongst black people. 6 months. And suddenly you think he's the only one that loves you niggas? And all his life he hated you? And for 6 months, because he don't want to go to jail, he suddenly loved the thugs from the ghetto? Not even the elite blacks, not even the blacks with education. Not even the blacks that makes a difference in society. He don't like them. He likes the worst of the blacks. And you believe that? I wanted to say, but I wouldn't say it. I want to say something, but I wouldn't say it. You know, people are so sensitive. Can't say shit. You got to think about you hurt somebody's feelings. Oh my gosh, they're so sensitive. You hurt their feelings. They say a lot of shit about me. I don't care. Ah, fuck it. I'll say it anyway. Look, maybe it's good that some of the blacks in Guyana are where they are. Maybe it's good. Maybe the rest of the world need to see that it's not a white man's fault. You know, Guyana and Haiti and all these places, blacks are doing this to themselves. It's not no oppression and suppression and massa ruling and all these things. It's just a black man's mentality. That's it. As a boy, I always heard people say, they would tell me that I am one black man, black boy's brain they don't want. So why? Because it's used up. They mean that I'm always busy in my head. But when they talk about the other blacks, they're like, when a black man dies, the only thing you can find of value is his brain, because he never uses it. And it's true. And by the way, to the Indo-Guyanese, you know that thing that those niggas like to say, any good coolie is a dead one? You ain't the first to hear that. Back in the 60s, in America, matter of fact, that's where it came from. The blacks in America, especially those Christian blacks, those, what they call them, the Israelites, blacks, Israelites, them, those kinds of cults, they're the ones who used to say that about white people. Any good white man is a dead one. It started with them. That's the extent of their racism. Since none of the blacks in Guyana concocted that term, no. It was exported from the blacks in America. And they started using it against the Indians or the Chinese. It's not unique to Indians. Black people use that against white people for decades. Because they don't want the average blacks to trust the white person. So they tell them, hey, any good white man is a dead one. Same thing, any good Indian is a dead, any good Chinese is a dead one. It's a black thing. They say it to anybody. So don't take it personal when they say it to you. It didn't start with you. You just have to understand that blacks always like to play the victim game when they're the perpetrators. They're the perpetrators. They're the culprits. And for you not to see that they're the culprits, they play the victim game. And all this thing that the Mohammeds are playing by, they're just taking from the PNC playbook and they're using it. They're using it. Oh, we're victimized. It's racism. I don't know how the PPP can be racist against the Mohammeds. They're afraid of us. We get more than, oh, they say I got 100 and something, 190,000 votes, but it's more. I'm the president. I won the election. Yeah. Same thing, same PNC talking points. So let's join together as a people and understand it's in the best interest of Guyanese and Guyana to call on the government to pressure the Speaker of the House not to bend or bow to the demands of this criminal ghetto group of the Mohammeds. If they want to go ahead and create chaos on Friday, arrest all of them. Arrest them. That is what you call treason. He is planning to commit treason against the government and the country and the parliament on Friday. So you don't need a court's order now. When you arrest him on Friday, hand him over to the FBI, the American embassy, let them ship him out. Well, it's a holiday here in Suriname. It's Independence Day. For the rest of you, please stand with your country. The war in Venezuela is going to affect everyone. It ain't a joke. Stand with your country. Until next time.